What is going on, Panthers fans? We are buzzing with anticipation because a massive question mark is hovering over our backfield, and it could completely change the identity of our offense this season. We all know that a lethal running game is the heartbeat of a winning squad, but the situation regarding our key running back room is becoming more intriguing by the day. Can our newest playmaker stay healthy and finally unlock his full potential? Stay tuned as we dive into this critical update. Before we get into it, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and comment your opinion below. Jonathan Brooks has officially emerged as the critical wild card for the Carolina Panthers in 2026. The success of the running game remains the team's priority, especially as Canales maintains his philosophy that a consistent ground attack is the most effective way to support a developing quarterback. While the Panthers experienced flashes of efficiency during the first half of last year, that production relied on rotating two viable options to manage physical toll. Now the spotlight shifts entirely to the health and performance of Jonathan Brooks, as he works to establish his role within the roster. As an organization, the Panthers recognize that the most effective running games in the league typically utilize two capable backs, particularly when the current rotation lacks a singular, undisputed superstar. Chuba Hubbard has provided consistency throughout his career, but his recent injury history highlights why the team needs a secondary force to stabilize the backfield. Jonathan Brooks enters this season with massive expectations following a college career that would have made him a first-round prospect if not for injury concerns. He has already been ranked as the 16th most important player on the roster, a designation that underscores how much pressure rests on his shoulders to perform. If Jonathan Brooks succeeds, he has the raw talent to transform the offense into a more explosive unit. However, if he fails to meet the expectations set by his scouting report, or suffers further setbacks, the team could find itself in a difficult tactical position. For the fans who continue to keep pounding throughout the ups and downs of the season, the emergence of this backfield duo is the most compelling story to follow as the campaign officially begins to take shape. The uncertainty surrounding Jonathan Brooks is exactly what makes his 2026 trajectory so fascinating for the Carolina Panthers. While Chuba Hubbard is a known commodity whose ceiling and floor are relatively established, the potential of Jonathan Brooks remains largely unproven at the NFL level. Despite his obvious talent, he has only made 3 brief appearances since his injury issues first surfaced, earning him a reputation that some critics describe as being on damaged goods watch. While he has looked sharp during training camp sessions, the coaching staff knows that camp performance does not always translate perfectly to the speed and physicality of actual NFL game action. This transition is the primary hurdle for Jonathan Brooks as he looks to prove he belongs at this level. Canales has been vocal about his commitment to the ground game, often choosing to run the ball even in situations where the box might be stacked against him. This strategy only works if the running backs are capable of punishing defenses and forcing missed tackles, something that Jonathan Brooks was renowned for during his time before reaching the professional ranks. If he can stay healthy, the expectation is that he will evolve into the explosive playmaker the offense has been lacking. By pushing the boundaries of his physical recovery, he provides the team with the depth required to keep the chains moving. For the front office and the coaching staff, the goal is simple: ensure that the workload is distributed in a way that maximizes both his explosiveness and his durability. Jonathan Brooks is not just a depth piece, he is a fundamental component of the team's offensive identity, serving as the primary bridge between potential and consistent, high-level production. Why does this situation matter for the Carolina Panthers right now? It comes down to the necessity of having 2 starter-level running backs to sustain a modern offensive attack. Because neither back is currently viewed as a top-tier superstar, the collective strength of the group relies on the synergy between Chuba Hubbard and Jonathan Brooks. This matters because Canales is determined to build an offense that takes pressure off the passing game, and that plan is doomed if the run game fails to gain yardage on early downs. If Jonathan Brooks fails to stay on the field, the team loses its most dynamic option for breaking off big, game-changing runs. We have seen how the previous combination of Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdle functioned. It was effective until the lack of depth caused the system to collapse under the pressure of physical attrition. By investing in the success of Jonathan Brooks, the team is trying to avoid repeating that same cycle. His presence allows for a fresh rotation, keeping the offense unpredictable and keeping opposing defensive fronts off balance. Furthermore, the importance of this specific position group is amplified by the fact that the team is still in a developmental phase with its quarterback. Providing that signal caller with a reliable two-headed monster in the backfield is arguably the best way to foster confidence and efficiency. The entire organizational approach to winning games is predicated on winning the battle in the trenches. If Jonathan Brooks cannot provide that boost, the entire offensive structure risks becoming one-dimensional, which would limit the team's ability to remain competitive. Maintaining his health is the single most important factor for the coaching staff as they navigate the upcoming schedule this season. There is a growing segment of the Carolina Panthers fan base that believes Jonathan Brooks could soon usurp the starting role, potentially becoming the team's primary RB1 before the season concludes. Whether or not that shift happens is a matter of intense debate, but the fact that it is a genuine possibility confirms just how vital Jonathan Brooks has become to the team's future. He is no longer just a developmental prospect. He is a man fighting for the chance to define his career and, by extension, the trajectory of this offense. Talent-wise, there is a prevailing belief that he might eventually surpass the production we expect from Chuba Hubbard. If he manages to break out, the team gains a home run hitter who can turn a simple screen or a dive play into a touchdown. This would be a massive deviation from the more methodical, grinded-out approach that Chuba Hubbard often employs. For Dave Canales, having two players with different skill sets allows for more creative play calling, which is exactly what the team needs to elevate its scoring output. However, all these possibilities are tethered to one fragile reality: his physical integrity. The coaching staff has been careful with his usage during the off-season, but the intensity will ramp up significantly once the games start counting toward the standings. Any sign of regression in his recovery would be a devastating blow to the team's strategic flexibility. The organization needs him to be the explosive element that the offense has been desperately searching for during the last few seasons. As we look at the roster, his development is clearly the most significant factor that could differentiate this year's team from the previous iterations that struggled to find consistency on the ground. As the 2026 season approaches, the narrative remains fixed on the recovery and integration of Jonathan Brooks into the core rotation of the Carolina Panthers. His ability to remain healthy and contribute in an impactful way is the primary metric by which the success of the running back room will be judged. The team has made it clear through their actions and their public comments that the running game is the backbone of their philosophy, and Jonathan Brooks is a huge part of that vision. While Chuba Hubbard continues to be a reliable and professional presence, the explosive potential that this team needs to reach a new level of offensive output rests entirely with the younger back. If he can survive the physical grind of the NFL and play with the same instincts he showed in his draft profile, the Panthers will have a formidable 1-2 punch that can sustain drives and keep the clock moving in their favor. The coaching staff understands that they cannot rush his development, yet they also cannot afford to wait forever for him to reach his potential. It is a delicate balance of patience and urgency that defines the current situation. For the fans, every practice highlight and every mention of his status carries weight, because they know that a healthy Jonathan Brooks is a game changer. As the team continues to keep pounding, through every drill and every game, the hope is that his health will stabilize and his performance will finally match the hype that has surrounded him since he arrived in Carolina. He has the chance to secure his place as a cornerstone of this offense, but that journey begins with proving that he can handle a full season of professional football at the highest level.